Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na NTSA kwa ushirikiano na European Union.
Good evening and welcome to Prime Edition. It's good to see you again. The conversation on the Muguka ban continues as Mount Kenya counties accuse their coastal counterparts of economic sabotage. And also in the UDA party, it appears like a divided house as all of them speak in different languages. Our conversation features tonight with the Honorable Danson Buya Mungatana, the Senator for Tana River, and the Honorable Geoffrey Roko, the Member of Parliament for Mbeere North. Those two conversations featuring in our debate tonight.
Indeed, and the question I'd want to pose to the two tonight is there disparity or difference between Mira and Mogoka? Given that one comes from Embu County and the other comes from Meru County. While the Budget and Appropriations Committee continues to receive views on the proposed finance bill of 2024.
We have details lined up for you tonight, but first things first, here are tonight's highlights. DP Gachagua denies media reports of his alleged fallout with President Ruto, even as his party reads a riot act to squabbling UDA members. Schools half-time break dates revised following the delayed second-term reopening triggered by heavy rains. And residents of Mathare slums in Nairobi term the ongoing government-led houses demolition as insensitive and inhumane. Anne Wangeshi is our sign language interpreter. My name is John Jacob Kioria. You are very much welcome to the broadcast.
And well, I think...
Lucy Maura, actually.
Yes, Lucy Maura is our colleague.
All right.
I'm Regina Manyara. Welcome to Prime Edition this Wednesday.
Of course, let's begin with the top story tonight. The government plans to invest more than 13 billion shillings in the next 3 years to enhance the country's shareholding and lending capacity of the African Development Bank Group.
Afrexim Bank and Trade Development Bank, that is. This was announced today by President William Ruto during the official opening of the annual meeting of the African Development Bank. Here is Wairi Monjenga with the details.
Calls to change the global financial structure and the need for a balanced representation of African countries in international financial institutions took center stage at the presidential dialogue of the 59th annual meeting of the African Development Bank Group.
A better, more responsive and fairer international financial architecture is urgently needed, and time here is of the essence.
Reforms of the global financial architecture is necessary to mobilize even more financial resources to achieve Africa's sustainable development goals.
More than 15 heads of state and governments attending the annual meeting have called for the establishment of an African credit rating agency to address debt distress, risk ratings, and climate change challenges, noting that the existing system does not favor African economies.
We need a financial architecture that has the following characteristics. Number one, long-term financing. 40 years, grace period, 10 years, or something in that order. Number two, low interest.
President William Ruto made a clarion call to African leaders to unite and speak in one voice in order to access financing on fair terms, calling for reforms at the African Union Commission.
We must make Africa Union fit for purpose to secure this continent. The Africa Union must take charge of our peace, security, and stability.
While committing to increase shareholding within the African Development Bank, Afrexim Bank, and Trade Development Bank, President Ruto backed African Union call of rechanneling of special drawing rights through the multilateral lender to enhance its lending capacity towards infrastructure, agriculture, and transition to renewable energy. The bank has committed to mobilize resources to construct a network of roads and rail connecting the African continent.
We are raising $3.2 billion for the East Africa Standard Gauge Railway connecting Tanzania, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Burundi. We are providing $500 million towards the development of the Lobito Corridor.
There is a need for viable solutions that will help African governments to mobilize sufficient resources that will help close the Africa's financing gap and accelerate transformation of the continent. Weri Mujenga for Prime Edition.
KBC Channel 1 is a media partner for that particular summit, and we indeed have a team on ground that brings us up to speed with what has been discussed and what it means not only for Kenya but also Africa. Now, still on matters finances, Parliament has been asked to reject proposals to introduce a 2.5% motor vehicle tax that is intended to collect 50 billion and instead spread it to all fuel consumers by increasing fuel levy by 1 shilling.
While submitting views on the Finance Bill 2024 before the Finance and Planning Committees of the National Assembly, stakeholders including KPMG and the Law Society of Kenya also opposed the proposed 25% excise duty on cooking oil, saying it will further increase the cost of living.
Kenyans have 13 days remaining to submit their views.
Giverson Minor has that report.
The Law Society of Kenya and an accounting multinational KPMG were among the stakeholders submitting views on the second day of public participation of the Finance Bill 2024 before the Finance and Planning Committee of the National Assembly. KPMG opposed the introduction of excess duty of 25% on cooking oil, saying if approved, it will take a toll on Kenyans who are already suffering the brunt of the high cost of living.
If we impose VAT on this, it's going to have a ripple effect in increasing the cost of living and will disproportionately affect households of lower income.
On the proposal to introduce an annual 2.5% motor vehicle tax, stakeholders instead proposed an increment by 1 shilling of the fuel levy to collect the intended 50 billion Kenyan shillings annually.
We will then probably be able still to collect the 56 or so billion by only contribution from each person, but the portion that you are contributing is so insignificant for you to be able to feel the pinch.
The Law Society of Kenya strongly opposed the introduction of taxes on the existing 4,000 electric vehicles, arguing that the levy will cripple the new venture that is helping to reduce air pollution. Stakeholders also objected to the proposed increment of taxes on internet data by 5%, saying it will discourage creation of digital jobs.
We have seen a huge uptick in the number of Kenyans, individuals earning an income from digital platforms. Some of them even, unfortunate to say, converted pastors. We have seen them on platforms like TikTok.
The committee has received 700 written submissions, with 13 days remaining for public participation.
And to assure again Kenyans that this public participation is not an exercise in futility. That's why we are using a lot of hours trying to listen to everyone, trying to critique everyone, trying to accommodate all the varied views.
The report is expected to be presented to Parliament for debate in 2 weeks. Giverson Minor, Prime Edition.
Some politics now, and Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has dismissed claims that he has shopped for another political party to be his safe home should things fall apart in the UDA party.
In a statement, the Deputy President says those peddling such information want to tarnish and disparage his reputation and undermine his status as the Deputy Party Leader of the United Democratic Alliance.
The sentiments came as Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja claimed that the deputy president was bullying other leaders in the party and vowed not to be intimidated.
The deputy president in a statement says he's reading malice on information being peddled that he has found a safe home in another political outfit as he ponders his future in the United Democratic Alliance. The UDA deputy party leader has termed such claims as one-sided, laced with innuendos and malice for some selfish ends. The statement came as Nairobi governor vowed not to be intimidated, alleging the deputy president was bullying other leaders in UDA party.
Unajua hawezi kuwa wewe unanyanyasa watu, you've bullied people for 2 years. Unatajwa wiki moja unalia. For 2 years. Unabuli kila mtu, hii county ndo huyo. Hii county ndo huyo. Unatajwa wiki moja unazama unalia. You know, bullies are the biggest cowards. Do you know that? Bullies are the maka unaenda sijui kwa msitu sijui wapi. Let me tell you, if you want respect, respect other leaders.
Speaking while meeting party delegates from Nairobi, Sakaja vowed that he will not be cowed to relinquish his quest to lead the party in the city, saying UDA should strive to be beyond tribal outfit and allow other shades of Kenyans.
Na tuko kwa viti yetu kwa sababu ya Mungu na wananchi. Hakuna mtu atasema ati yeye ndo alinipatia kiti ya kuwa governor ya Nairobi. Ni wananchi wa Nairobi milioni 5 ambao walinichagua kuwa governor wa Nairobi. So don't intimidate us. Don't try and intimidate. We are not intimidatable. No one can boggle us. We are unboggable. We are unboggable.
And as Sakaja was crying bullying, the party's Secretary General Cleophas Malala was reading Riot Act to 2 MPs, Oscar Sudi and Gathoni wa Mushomba, Governor Mutahi Kahiga, and Cabinet Secretaries Moses Kuria and Kipchumba Murkomen for trying to rock the party from within. Gishoki Washira, Prime Edition.
Politics is quite interesting. I want to move this forward to the demolitions ongoing in Mathare. Regina?
Yes, indeed. Now, residents of Kosovo area in Mathare constituency, Nairobi County, are crying foul over the ongoing demolitions along riparian land, terming it as inhumane.
The residents, together with civil rights groups led by the Kenya Human Rights Commission, at the same time have raised concerns over the manner in which the 10,000 shillings compensation was being disbursed, claiming that genuine demolition victims are yet to benefit.
This as the government says it will close down close to 200 camps hosting tens of victims displaced by the recent floods.
At Kosovo area within the sprawling Mathare slums, several residents are digging through the debris of demolished houses, seemingly trying to salvage any of the remaining property following demolitions which were ordered by the government on all structures built within 30 meters from the Mathare River. The exercise, which according to the government was meant to avert further losses of lives as a result of flooding, now turning into a nightmare.
Mimi nilikuwa naishi hapa chini ya mtoni, nimeathiriwa, watoto wako shule, sina la kulala, sina mahali ya kuenda, nitafanyaje?
Maji inatupiga, hatujamaliza ya maji, tena ndio hii tractor inakuja kutupiga.
Persons with disabilities are said to be among those yet to receive any humanitarian support.
Tunalilia rais kwa kweli, kama anaweza kuongea na watu yake tupate makao na tujue tutaishi namna gani.
And our ministry is going to work together with the Minister of Interior to ensure that these people are resettled as per his commitment. As you've heard, we've already sent 1,500 iron sheets to resettle these people.
Kenya Human Rights Commission is demanding justice and quick relief aid for the victims from the government.
There are also concerns about unfairness and lack of transparency in the manner in which the 10,000 shillings is being distributed.
So we're really asking the government, actually do this in a humane manner. Follow the human rights principles in all that you're doing.
For Prime Edition, I'm Joseph Ohungu.
As if limping from one crisis to another, Hundreds of junior secondary school intern teachers drawn from various parts of the country staged demonstrations in Nairobi today, sustaining their demand for employment in permanent and pensionable terms.
The JSS teachers have faulted the employer, the Teacher Service Commission, of ignoring the court orders.
And as Timothy Kipnusu now reports, the intern teachers who have been on strike since the beginning of this school term have maintained that they will not go back to class until the government gives them a solid return to work formula.
The junior secondary school intern teachers strike across the country entered the 24th day today, with teachers drawn from the 47 counties converging in Nairobi to stage demonstration to show their dissatisfaction on the government and TSC's handling of their grievances in strike.
Mambo ya Mogoka inatatuliwa within 2 days. Mambo ya education, watu hapa Kenya hawana haja nayo tena.
Tunataka tume ya uajiri kama clear, mtupatie circular, return to work formula.
Carrying placards and singing songs, the irate teachers wondered why the same government that had promised to employ them on permanent basis should change them.
Confirm all the 46,000 interns. Mogul power!
Instead of TSC compensating the 46,000 interns, it went ahead and gave them so-called letters.
They are now demanding the lasting solution to their grievances, saying the monthly stipend of 17,000 shillings is too little, given the current harsh economic times.
17,000 is nothing to a grown-up like us. It is nothing.
The teachers who held peaceful demonstration from Green Park Terminus in Nairobi to the TSC headquarters in Upper Hill have also dismissed show cause letters issued by Teacher Service Commission.
What we are saying is, what are the show cause letters for if we have no employer-employee relationship?
They questioned why TSC failed to honor the court order. The Employment and Labour Relations Court ruled that the Teacher Service Commission's placement of intern teachers at junior school was unlawful. The demos come as the Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu promised to heed to their demands, with the GSS teachers saying their strike will only end if the government gives them a binding return to work formula.
There is also a court ruling which has been able to come out this week. We will be able to look at it and the implications of that court ruling as we make a decision as to what is to be done.
The 46,000 junior secondary school intern teachers now say they will not be cowed or intimidated into calling off their strike, saying they will continue pushing for their quest until TSC employ them on permanent and pensionable terms. Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition, Nairobi.
Time for us to take our first breather on Prime Edition. When we come back, we have more news lined up for you, including business and sports. And remember, you have a conversation to talk about the state of the nation at the tail end of a broadcast.
We have come to give you this letter to request you, as the official advisor to the government, to please advise our government that the time has come for all political prisoners to be released.
Nilianza kuendesha boda miaka michache iliyopita. Wakati huo nilifikiria siwezi kushindwa. Lakini siku moja nilikuwa hospitalini kwa miezi 3. Kosa moja karibu liondoe kila kitu. Mwaka moja baada ya kutoka hospitalini, nilihudhuria mafunzo ya jinsi ya kuendesha boda kwa usalama. Siku hizi niko makini zaidi barabarani. Wateja wangu wanaenjoy. Kumbuka, usalama kwanza. Boda ni life, lakini life si kitu bila usalama. Zingatia kanuni za trafiki. Hakikisha unavaa helmet na reflector jacket wakati wote.
Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na NTSA kwa ushirikiano na European Union.
Multi bonus, zidisha ushindi wako hadi 1,000,000 na multi bonus 1,000%. Kuwa mshindi, Mozart Bet.
For 60 years, the African Development Bank Group has played an integral part in Africa's socio-economic transformation. From the 27th to the 31st of May 2024, the African Development Bank Group will host its 2024 annual meetings at the Kenyatta International Convention Center in Nairobi, Kenya. This year's theme will be Africa's Transformation, the African Development Bank Group, and reform of the global financial architecture. The high-level meetings will be hosted by the President of Kenya, His Excellency Honorable Dr. William Ruto, and the President of the African Development Bank Group, Akinwumi Adesina, and will convene African leaders, development partners, private sector actors, civil society organizations, youth, among other stakeholders. This event will be live on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back. This is Prime Edition. Now, learning at Nyarli School in Mombasa was disrupted for the upteenth time after parents stormed the school to push out the embattled outgoing management board.
A fist fight broke out as parents tried to forcefully push out the outgoing chair of the management board, Benjamin Gitonga, who had come to address the parents and teachers to kickstart an arbitration process as ordered by the Mombasa High Court.
John Kahiro shares the dramatic turn of events.
Wednesday morning at Nyali School in Mombasa, learning came to a dramatic halt as a strike by parents escalated into physical confrontations, demanding the immediate removal of the school's board. The parents accused the management board of the school of alleged mismanagement and lack of transparency in managing the institution, which saw some parents going to court and blocked the annual general meeting of the club for elections of new board members would occur.
Ndio sababu ambayo wazazi kwanza wamesema hawalipi fees na shule itafungwa mpaka board wa zamani watoke.
In a ruling dated 23rd of May, Justice Olga Sewe of the Mombasa High Court issued conservatory orders barring the newly elected board from taking over the pending hearing and ruling of the petition before the court. The parents, however, disputed the ruling, arguing that the current board had overstayed their term for over 5 years.
Our constitution says that you cannot serve for more than 4 years. But this board has been in the office for more than 8 years now. So we feel aggrieved.
On his part, the embattled chair, Gitonga, however, said that he had no intention of clinging to the office.
We are governed by the rule of law in this country, as a court order which was given, and if I don't do that, there will be a contempt of court. And all I wish is that members could come together because we have been told to do an arbitration.
The school now remains closed, with parents calling for an overhaul of the board for learning to resume. John Kahiro, Prime Edition.
And businessman Ashok Sher has informed trial magistrate Dolphina Alego that he purchased a parcel of land in 2007 from Lining Company Limited, which is now a subject of a criminal case facing former Provincial Commissioner David Nathan Chelogoi and his co-accused Sher.
Shah tabled the documents in court, among them 29 title deeds, and where he claimed to be the rightful owner of the land located at Loresho, Nairobi County.
Here is our Skills of Justice segment.
In between, the trial hearing in a land dispute over a parcel of land in Loresho, pitting former Nairobi PC Nathan Chelogoi and businessman Ashok Shah, kicked off Wednesday with the businessman taking to the witness stand as the first prosecution witness. Trial magistrate Dolphina Alego was informed that Ashok bought the land from Lining Company Limited in 2007. The panel confirmed that the grant registered in favor of Ashok Kumar Rupsi Shah and Hiten Kumar Amrit Lal Raja was genuine and formed part of the land registered. According to Ashok, the former PC in February this year allegedly hired 30 goons to invade his property. Shah told the court the CS for lands Alice Wahome also paid a visit to the parcel of land and confirmed that the title deed he held was genuine.
Survey was done later on, so that was written approximately 6 hectares, and when they measured during the survey, it was 7.39 hectares, and that is how they have given the deed plan, issued the deed plan and the title with 7.39 hectares.
However, during cross-examination by the defense counsels, Shah said he could not remember whether he paid the stamp duty as required by law.
In the letter of allotment, correct?
Yes.
Correct?
No, it's not mentioned into the...
Read the letter of allotment, the reference number.
In the same breath, Senior Counsel George Oraro has disclosed to the court that former Laikipia legislator Anthony Mutai Kimaru attempted to defraud a property in Nanyuki valued at 7 million shillings.
My complaint is that a document has been presented to Land Office as a transfer executed by me and Dr. Sylvester.
He told Chief Magistrate Bernard Ochoi that Kimaru attempted to present fake documents to his lawyer Kariuki Mwangi in 2009.
When we were all very clear that this property should not be transferred until the case pending in court.
Oraro and David Morton were the executors of the estate of the late Livia Lipoa Trench. Prosecuting counsel James Gashoka said the accused authored the land titles in a case pending before the Environment and Land Courts in Nyeri.
The court cannot be left hanging as to why he considers himself a complainant, and he is in the process of explaining as to why he considers himself as a complainant.
Ruth Wamboy for Prime Edition.
Asanteni sana kwa kuwezesha Loto Moto kuwafikia wengi wasiojiweza kupitia star 570#. Hapo umewafuta wengi machozi, umewaelimisha, umewapa makao, umewapa lishe na umewapa matibabu kwa namna tofauti. Asanteni.
Asanteni. Asanteni sana.
Na kwako wewe mchezaji wa Loto Moto, unajipa fursa ya kujishindia Probox nayo. Na kama Probox haikufai na umejishindia, tunakupa taslim 750,000 Kenyan shillings na mshindi na mtangaza 30th of June. Na mwezi wa July 28th na mtangaza mshindi wa Demio nayo. Na kama utaki na umeshinda, wacha gari, chukua chapa 750,000 Kenyan shillings kwenye star 570#. Wewe si mshindi tu, wewe ni tegemeo kubwa. Tusaidie na tushinde.
Si tumekula kiapo? Yes. Ningekuwa kweli mimi ni mtu kwenda nikitangaza. Si ningekuwa nimetangaza kuhusu bwana yako. Wewe. Bwana yako anaitwa Ali Osman Omar. Si ndio? Ndio. Na nimetibu yeye na nikamwambia akulete hata wewe utibiwe na ukatibiwa, si ndio? Nimaiambia mtu yote hiyo maneno.
Si wewe anasema hapa sasa?
Mimi ndio nilikuambukisha hiyo ugonjwa.
Si wewe, lakini kwa nini utangaze? Kwa why should you?
Nani alipelekea bibi yake ugonjwa? Okay. Kawera, ni mimi ama ni wewe?
Okay, ni mimi, lakini sasa hiyo ni kitu ya kuja kueleza mahakama namna hivyo.
Kuna
nini unanialipia
tena? Unisikia nikiambia mtu ya kwamba si mara ya kwanza huko, ili mara ya 6 imekuja.
Wewe sasa wewe utasaidia. Unaharibu kesi. Pale wako.
We just want to look through this matter identity because the most affected are the young people.
People can tell you things, maybe they wake up every morning and they tell you you're beautiful, but if you don't believe it, it will still affect you negatively. So that was me, I struggled with that.
Najua tu kuna mtu mahali hata huwa understand ni nini exactly anataka kukua. That was me.
the entire high school hata sijui, like I know Konje, this is what they see, this is what whatever happens, but this is me being vulnerable to you. Now help me walk out of it.
Wow.
Every day nikiamka nikifika kwa hiyo kio nasema I am God's masterpiece.
Wow.
Najiangalia nasema I am a child of God.
Kwa Yesu niko fiti sana.
Welcome back. You're watching Prime Edition. Now, set against the backdrop of the Mau Mau rebellion, the film Wamaitha, which is our focus tonight on the weekly segment Cinemas and Theatre, tells the hidden stories of women fighters who bravely made their mark in history.
Well, take a look.
Wamaitha is a riveting, action-packed love story that takes us back in time during the colonial era at the height of the Mau Mau struggle. The film follows Wamaitha, a daughter of a preacher who falls in love with Kongo, a Mau Mau rebel. She, however, finds herself in a conflicting situation, whether to continue being with the rebel or follow her father's preaching. Written and directed by Kanyethe Mungai and Akikwetu Productions, the film also seeks to highlight the role played by women in the Mau Mau arms struggle for independence. But what inspired the idea of the film?
I've always been a lover of history. I love history. So I've been watching a lot of documentaries, reading a lot of books, a lot of memoirs, and all these things pertaining to history. I realized that a lot of our history, especially stories around Mau Mau and the British colonial rule in Kenya, is very, very distorted. The history that we get is extremely edited. And after reading so many books, I realized we have a lot of stories that haven't been told. And I felt the need to tell this story.
The film stars Maurice Mwangi as Kongo, Jambi Mboro as Wamaitha, Kimani Mboro as Hosea, Kevin Dhagana as Njao, Anthony Ndongo as Mishuki, Stuart as Captain Terence, among others.
We always audition. So this time around was a bit tricky because we were looking for somebody who sort of fits the Mau Mau era. So it was not easy. Actually, we did like 3 auditions. Yeah, the first audition we did, the guys came, we found a few people, but again, remember, the movie is in Kikuyu. So we had to look for somebody who is very proficient in Kikuyu. We needed somebody who can speak it very well, and that was tricky. Finally, we got somebody, we landed to somebody who has never been on screen before. So you can imagine, our lead character is the first time for her. Yeah, so we had to train her first. We had to train her just how to be an actor. Of course, she's a good actress. She did very well. But there are a few things that you have to learn about how to be in front of a camera, to understand the camera.
Kanyethe Mungai notes the filming process of Wamaitha was one challenging but successful project.
The filming process was amazing. I have to say Wamaitha to date is one of the most challenging projects I've ever engaged in. The most challenging, because we are shooting on location. I love to shoot on location. I always try as much as possible to steer clear of the green screens and the studios and all that. If need be, I really go to the location. So we had to go deep inside Kirinyaga forest, and we stayed there for a couple of weeks, just shooting the forest scenes. Yeah, it took a toll on us at some point. We got inside the water, in the rivers, and you can imagine, it's not the same. When you look at it from an outsider's perspective, you'll realize it looks easy, as though you can just get in and just do anything. But the moment you get inside the river and feel the cold water of Mount Kenya, then you realize how hard this thing is.
Wamaitha is produced in Kikuyu dialect, a move Kanyethe appreciates as it brought out the authenticity of the film.
First and foremost, we identify with the storylines. We identify with our stories. Even the guys who are the actors themselves, when you tell your story in your own language, you can even be able to tell the authenticity. The way somebody can be able to bring out a story is very different from when I'm talking to you from other languages. And it's a high time even other people realize that we have our own languages in Kenya. The Mau Mau story has not been told by us for a long time. And we are really happy to be part of the people who are doing it. Yeah, and I would like people to just come and see. It's going to show people where we are coming from, because apparently I think people tend to forget. People need to understand the sacrifices that were made for us to enjoy the freedoms that we're enjoying today. People need to understand that their culture matters today. The premiere of this film will be at the Nairobi Film Center. That's Nairobi Cinema along Aga Khan Walk. That will be on the 29th of June. That's the red carpet event. Then the following day, on 30th, we're going to have 2 screenings, one at 2 p.m. and the other one at 4 p.m.
Once a Mau Mau, always a bloody Mau Mau.
Jacqueline Masharia for Cinemas and Theatre.
Back to the future. The future is simulate. Bet smarter. Win faster now. Be a winner. Mozart.bet.
On KBC Channel 1, we are a TV station like no other. Get a taste of the best in entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
Feel the passion.
Will you promise me?
I swear that you will never lose me. I can't get married to you.
I'm sure you knew about it. That's why you're making fun of me.
Experience the drama.
Get out.
Who is the man in this one?
And the laughter. Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1.
Wow. Yeah!
We are the full package.
Oh, yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
We speak matters business, where African leaders have agreed to prioritize investments in renewable energy, digital infrastructure and industrialization to fast-track its inclusive and sustainable development agenda. Speaking during the ongoing annual meetings of the African Development Bank Group, various African leaders noted that this will provide a platform for Africa to better adapt to the ever-changing world to transform its economies.
Africa's socio-economic transformation remains key in ensuring that its progress supports economic growth for African countries. Speaking during the ongoing annual meetings of the African Development Bank, various African leaders have called for policy and regulatory reviews to improve the socio-economic status of the continent.
This is a panacea to foster socio-economic transformation, in addition to addressing the importance of reconfiguring global financial architecture as an engine for structural transformation.
The African Union has agreed to create the requisite regulatory and financial policy frameworks, policy goals and appropriate markets, including regional ones, that will ensure universal access to electricity while pursuing low-carbon development. Additionally, the Africa Development Bank Group committed to harness digital technologies and innovation to transform societies, generate inclusive economic growth, stimulate job creation, erase the digital divide to eradicate poverty.
Because of the higher per capita income, in spite of the inequities that I have referred to, the high unemployment and high levels of poverty, we get funding that is quite pricey.
making it difficult for us to raise the adequate resources to fund development.
This came even as the group launched a 10-year strategic plan that is themed around 5 areas. The clarion calls came amidst a major push by African governments to scale up investments in key sectors to transform the continent.
Deliberations to transform the African continent have seen leaders call for resource mobilization by development partners that will help Africa realize its potential. Reporting for Prime Edition from the county of Nairobi, my name is Nduta Mokami.
Part of the team that is keeping tabs on what is happening during that particular summit. Now, the government will not scrap budgetary allocation to school feeding program. Rather, the kitty will be increased by at least 3 billion shillings in proposals to be tabled before Parliament next week. Here's Trevor Ngendo with the details.
That should be by the time we are tabling the report in Parliament by early next month. I'm sure we'll have sourced for more money for school feeding program, and that money will not be below 3 billion. In fact, we are aiming for 0.5 billion shillings, so that we cover for the entire year.
That school feeding is non-negotiable. That is something that we should never, ever even contemplate to remove again in our budget. If anything, it needs to be enhanced.
The wish of this committee as we allocate resources is for TSC to consider all the 46,000 JSS interns to be given opportunities on permanent and pensionable terms.
That time has come when we need to think more of reducing our expenditure than borrowing. If we do that, then we'll have more of a fixed deficit than a moving deficit.
Ni vyema tupunguze matumizi ya yale mambo ambayo si ya muhimu sana, ili tukapunguze basi kukopa. Unajua kwamba mambo ya kukopa yamekuwa ni donda sugu nchini.
Now, counterfeit vehicle spare parts could be the cause of increased road accidents in Kenya. Anti-Counterfeit Authority Executive Director Dr. Robbie Mbogwa says the agency is working with the National Transport and Safety Authority NTSA in a study about the effects of counterfeit vehicle spare parts.
In recent weeks, there have been increased number of road accidents blamed on a number of causes such as state of roads, human error, and now it is emerging that counterfeit spare parts could also be the cause. This has prompted the Anti-Counterfeit Authority and the National Transport and Safety Authority to commission a study on the relation between counterfeit vehicle spare parts on road accidents in Kenya.
When we have some spare parts for motor vehicles that are faulty, they are able to cause a lot of havoc. And that is the essence of having this, so that member states can compare notes.
When we talk about enforcement, it's things as important as counterfeited medicines that can really damage the health of our families. We are talking about counterfeited toys, counterfeited alcohol, counterfeited beauty products, so things that can really harm our health, our well-being, and it's important that we are all aware of this.
He says the nature of counterfeiting has been evolving since previously. Counterfeiting was targeting high-end luxury goods, but now it has moved even to every household goods, which affects the health of consumers.
We are trying to change that situation around, and we are offering this opportunity. It's part of a broader project which is supporting the implementation of the African Union Agenda 2063.
They said counterfeiting is most prevalent in pharmaceuticals, alcohol, cosmetics, motor vehicle spare parts, and fast-moving consumer goods. Illicit trade cost Kenya 1 trillion shillings annually. Edna Murungi for Prime Edition.
Now, 2 Kenyan innovators have invented a soil testing device that enables farmers to book testing sessions online. Betty Kiptum caught up with the founders of Rare Health Soil at the Tech Showcase GTEx Africa that is ongoing in Marrakech, Morocco.
The Kenya Agriculture and Livestock Research Organization says 13% of soils in Kenya are acidic. This translates to 63% of Kenya's arable land. Soil acidity can be corrected through liming. The use of acid-forming fertilizer is a big contributor to soil acidity, which reduces yield. Through soil testing and analysis, farmers gain insight into the composition of soil compared to their crops' needs. Priscilla Wakarera runs a company she co-founded with Soinato Lebo, which has invented soil testing equipment.
We realized that the time it takes for a farmer to get the soil analyzed is so long, and sometimes the whole process is inconvenient and frustrating, so more farmers are not able to access soil analysis.
Farmers can book for soil testing online and pay 2,000 shillings to get their soil tested.
We do this through an IoT device that we have built. It's patented and it enables an agent to come to your farm, conduct the soil analysis at your farm level, provide you with the results at that farm level, and then you can just proceed to purchase the inputs that you require.
The farm works with extension officers to interpret the analysis and advise farmers. African innovations for African problems. This is part of the solutions that are being innovated for Africa, including this soil health testing device by Priscilla and her team at Ria Solutions. And just like thousands of exhibitors who have turned up here at GTEx Africa, the team says that it is time for Africa to take care of its own problems. Reporting from Marrakesh in Morocco, I'm Betty Kipto.
Now, the cost of cooking oil, diapers and tires are likely to go up if the Finance Bill 2024 is enacted in its current form. Kenya Association of Manufacturers CEO Anthony Mwangi says the proposed introduction of eco-levy on some goods manufactured in Kenya or imported will lead to a price increase on packaging, materials, batteries and hygienic products.
Bread has been hit ab initio by eco-levy. Before you are hit by edible oil, which is used to make bread, you already hit 13% by eco-levy. Cooking oil, 5%. Before you're hit by excise. Before you're hit by excise on plastics and packaging. Cement, detergents, eco-levy. Look at the batteries. Your car battery is 12 kgs. The cost, 8,500. The levy now, 9,000. So government tax now is more expensive than the product. This product manufactured here now becomes more expensive than the same product from China, than the same product from Egypt, than the same products from Uganda, than the same product from Tanzania. So, what do you expect? The traders move in and bring in the diapers.
It's still a mandatory requirement in Kenya. And what we are saying is that, there are no guarantees that even that 50 billion is going to be allocated purely to NEMA and the county government so that they're able to collect that waste in the environment. So it's just about making sure that the approach and the structure that they give realizes the outcomes of what they want to do.
Sports News is brought to you by Mozart Bet.
Yes, indeed, time to get sporty. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Bernard Okumu, and we begin with rugby, where former Kenya Sevens international Johnston Olindi is among 14 players who will make their debut for the National Rugby 15s team Simbas as they begin their 2024 season with the Rugby Africa Cup slated from 20th to 28th of July in Kampala, Uganda. Now the Simbas will start their campaign with a quarter-final clash against Senegal at the Mandela National Stadium in Nambole, Kampala.
Kenya Rugby Union confirmed the Simba squad for 2024, which includes maiden collabs for 14 players, majority of whom were active during the just concluded Rugby Super Series. They include, among others, Francis Atiti, Felix Ojo, Amos Obaye, Felix Okoth, William Mwanji, and Griffin Chow. The foreign-based trio of Andrew Simiyu, Malcolm Onsando, Thomas Okeyo have also been included in the squad, as well as Edward Maura, Clinton Juma, Samson Omonsu, Bernard Ongata, and Emmanuel Silungu, who missed out in the last year internationals but were instrumental during the Rugby Super Series. Timothy Okwemba also makes a return with seasoned Simbas campaigners John Okoth, Vincent Onyala, Brian Tanga, Samuel Asati, and Lamek Obetsa. The Simba will start their Rugby Africa Cup campaign with a quarter-final clash against Senegal at the Mandela National Stadium in Nambole, Kampala. The winner of this match will meet either Algeria or Ivory Coast, who clash in the other quarter-final on the 24th July this year.
Now, Kenya Volleyball League side GSU will renew their rivalry against Kenya Defence Forces in the league semi-final playoffs this Friday at Kasarani Gymnasium in their quest to reclaim the title they last won in 2022.
The former defending league champions GSU, who finished regular season in the first position, will start their semi-final playoffs against powerhouse Kenya Defence Forces at the Kasarani Indoor Gymnasium. In another semi-final, Africa Men's Volleyball Club champions bronze medalist Kenya Prisons will face the Blue Submarines KPA at the same venue in the best-of-3 series to determine the ultimate winner. In the women's semi-finals, the regular season league leaders and defending champions KCB will meet a tricky DCI team, hoping to dispatch them like they did to an improved Kenya Army in the quarterfinals. Kenya Prisons ladies will clash with the African women's bronze medalist champions Kenya Pipeline in another battle for the women's title. King Orimwangi for Prime Edition Sports.
And to Kabaddi now, where the national men's Kabaddi team secured their second victory in the Bangabandhu International Kabaddi Tournament when they defeated Japan 42-29 at the Dhaka and Mirpur Indoor Stadium in Bangladesh. Now Kenya, who have proved to be unstoppable so far, had registered an impressive 56-28 win over Sri Lanka in their opening match. Captain Daniel Odhiambo led by example, earning the Man of the Match award after scoring over 20 raid points. Kenya is set to face Iraq, Thailand and Uganda in the next group stage matches. 12 countries are taking part in the Bangabandhu International Kabaddi Tournament, among them South Korea, Japan, Nepal, Thailand, Iraq and Poland. Now remember that Kenya has finished twice as runners-up in the competition that's celebrating its fourth edition this year. And the second World Boxing Olympic qualifiers in Bangkok, Thailand have proved to be a tough hunting ground for Kenyan boxers after Frieza Anyango became the latest flag bearer to be eliminated in her welterweight bout against Emily Somvinko, France. Now Frieza went down fighting but lost on points to the French boxer to join a list of 4 other Kenyan boxers who have been bundled out, including Captain Elizabeth Sandiego, who lost to Irina Nicoleta Schonberg of Germany in the middleweight, and Amina Mathare, who lost on points to Scarlett Delgado of Canada in the bantamweight, as well as Captain Boniface Mugunde, who lost his fight midweight bout to Walsh Aiden of Ireland, while Edwin Okongo, who had knocked out his opponent last Saturday, was later eliminated on points in the round of 32 by Mongolia's Ganzorig Dalai in the fight. Peter Buti, who was given a bye in his first round, is the remaining Kenyan hope as he awaits the winner of the round of 32 heavyweight bout between Polish Matthews Brasink and Australian Adrian Paoletti on Thursday. And now remember that in Europe, of course, the football season is over and some of the big teams are in hunt for the new coaches. And these are the teams that have already gotten their coaches, include Chelsea as well as Barcelona, who have announced Hansi Flick as their new head coach, replacing Xavi, who was sacked. That's it from the sports. Let's do this again tomorrow. I'm Bernardo Kumu. Have enjoyed the rest of your viewing.
Sports News was brought to you by Mozart Bet.
You can lift the plane. The higher you fly, the higher your wind. The sky is the limit. Mozart Bet.
George has been holding the fort for the longest time before you came back.
I know George is the golden boy for now.
My enemy is your enemy, right?
Not at all. We carry our own cross, Dad.
If I dropped dead right now, you think all my enemies will not come at you?
I don't want to be dragged into your big quarrels with Ruth, okay?
And yet you're having her followed.
Toka! How much did he trust you?
Let Joel rest in peace. Tafadhali.
God bless his soul.
If he wants us to trust you, then get your dad to back down from whatever sinister plans he has against us.
Who in this office even trusts you?
What's that supposed to mean?
You show up and Julian and Ronald quit.
Well, did you find out what he wanted from Ronald?
He'll just lead me to the answers.
I don't have time.
Mizimu imesema atakayekuwa kiongozi ni yule pete itamchagua.
Bahari imechafuka. Mrithi wangu ni yule atakayeniletea vuo la kuoga.
Sasa na hili vuo wachana nalo, wakati wake umepita.
Pete hii ni ishara ya utawala.
Huu uongozi tusimwachie Jasiri.
Kwa nini uongozi usimwendee Jasiri? Na wauliza nyinyi, Jasiri ana nini?
Kiva, hakuna atakayekusumbua. Well, it's time for our State of the Nation conversation, and in studio I'm joined by the firebrand Senator for Tanda River, Danson Boya Bongatana, and we're going to speak about the current state of the nation. Mheshimiwa, karibu sana.
Thank you, John. Thank you for having me here.
Yes, absolutely. Let's begin with the party from which you were elected.
Yes.
It appears like a divided house today. The Deputy President issuing a statement on one hand, the Secretary General on the other. The Governor for Nairobi is saying different things about the unity of the party. Is your party a divided house?
No, John. Let me tell you.
Yes.
In politics, when you see things are boiling, it's a very good sign of internal democracy. And it's a good sign that there is space for disagreement. When you see people are always singing the same tune, talking the same words, just like in a house, if you are always having a spouse who is always agreeing with you, if it's a man or a woman, you just know one person is being oppressed. So unless you're running the Communist Party or something, if there is differences of opinion or differences of approach, differences of doing things, but at the end of it, we are still together. We may hold very diverse opinion on issues. We're still together. So I don't really see that we are divided as such. Yes.
My only question is, Senator Mungatana.
Yes.
When your deputy party leader stands in a national platform to accuse people close to the president of trying to manage politics in his backyard, you would still say that's healthy debate?
You see, people, look at the age brackets here we are talking about. Look at where people are coming from in terms of the politics of the day, you know, and also relate those statements to the kind of maybe targets people have. My own take, and with a lot of respect, is that in a herd, and if I'm an avid watcher of wildlife movies, so normally when the young bulls are becoming big in a herd of buffaloes, they are not welcome. They are always hit, especially if you're showing like you might want to take over. It's the same thing. Whether there's a male dominant lion and there are others who are trying to come up, eventually they're chased away. And they will have to fight back. And for lions, sometimes the fights are lethal, and the old man is overcome and is chased away. So it is a normal behavior for the younger people to try and create space for their own space. And it is normal behavior for the older people to try and protect their turf. And so this, to me, is okay. Let it go on. Except the issue I would have is with DP. You know, the deputy president holds a very high position. And the Constitution says he's the principal assistant to the president. And principal assistant doing what? Helping him perform the functions of the office of the president. What are the functions of the office of the president? Opening parliament, addressing the joint sitting of both Senate and the National Assembly, you know, appointing diplomats, nominating people to be cleared by parliament for high positions, declaring war, you know, exercising the prerogative of masses and all those functions.
And being a symbol of national unity.
Being a symbol of national unity. So that's the office of the president. Who is the principal assistant? The deputy president. Which means where, for God forbid any reason, we have temporary incapacity on the holder of the office of the president, the symbol of unity will be the principal assistant. Where we have death or resignation or you know, impeachment, the principal assistant would be the deputy president. So that makes that position a very sensitive position. In Kenya, and like other countries like the UK or Japan, where we have a king, the king is the head of state. And then we have the people in the politics, you can do whatever you want. The state continues. But in Kenya, after independence, the system changed. So the head of state and the head of government are one and the same. So the head of state is the symbol of unity. But he's also the head of government. So in this country, then, the president, who is a symbol of unity, is principal assistant, is the deputy president. So for me, if I was the DP, I would be very careful about what I say. And there are statements that you can't say as a deputy president.
For example, you faulted him the other day regarding his proposal for 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote, and particularly targeting towards Mount Kenya.
Yes, and I will tell you, John, you know, and the Kenyans listening to me, if you are saying, I will unite Mount Kenya, that's not a good position. So what should I say? Should the Constitution also create a deputy president in the south, in the Southern Rift, to unite Southern Rift, or in the coast to unite the coast, or in Northeastern to unite the Northeastern, or a DP in Nairobi to unite Nairobi? I mean, all the old provinces. So we are calling for 8 DPs. I think those statements, or a statement saying, I'm a believer in 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling. obviously, Mungatana will come and say, you can't say that because those are 1965 policies that deliberately excluded economically through sessional paper number 10 of 1965. They excluded us. When those sessional papers, that sessional paper was done in 1965, we gained independence in 1963, barely 18 months into our livelihood as a state. And then it was prepared in a hurry. And all they said was, we are going to invest in high potential areas, which meant that places like Tana River County, where I come from, and other places, we were not going to invest in those. And you're collecting taxes from all of us. And then you're not investing in us. So it was a planned economic segregation. And then people would say, tunaenda Kenya. You're moving, you are in Kenya, but you're going to Kenya, which means we were actually segregated for a long time. So there are statements that in themselves do not inspire the whole idea of the symbol of unity. And for me, I would say, even if I believe in those things, if I was the head of state, and mind you, even the head of state believes in some of these things, but you have your governor. You know, if your governor says he needs more resources because he has more people, nobody will fault him. If the senator says, I need more money in my place because I have a higher population, he will have to contend with the other senator who says, no, my friend, you may have more people, but I have the sea. When you tax the port, you bring more money than any of those people that you are talking about in your county. So go and think about this. So me and him, we can contend, you know, senator to senator, senator to governor and all this, but it should not be senator to the head of state or the deputy president. So for me, there are statements that I think if I were in those kind of position, I would be careful to mention them.
Let me take you back to your party, Senator Mungatana.
Yes.
Is it likely that the friction we are seeing is brought about by the ongoing grassroots elections, so much so that once this is sorted, we are likely to see a semblance of normalcy, or there are other underlying issues that are simmering?
John, I have to agree with you that anytime there is competition for power and politicians are very sensitive on those issues, I have to agree with you that the theory that the current ongoing grassroots elections are in fact the major reason that you're going to see a lot of jostling, a lot of realignments, and a lot of power play that is going to come about. Because if somebody is feeling threatened, and if somebody is hearing, you know, John there is planning against me, or Peter there, or Kamau or Mungatana, or whoever is planning against me, I will start also planning against him. So I think we must have a bloodbath. It must happen. It's
inevitable.
It's inevitable because there will be casualties in these elections, and some people may walk away. Some people may stay, wait to fight another day. Some people may feel completely uncomfortable after the national elections are done, and they're not sure whether because you see, you have to trust your party. You have to feel confident enough that this party will be with me when I need the ticket, you know. So I expect that there will be some bloodbath, but after that it will settle. And it will settle because we need to settle down to the business of governance. And everybody knows that party elections are not an easy job. And you could lose some very good friends because they could feel, oh, no, I'm not wanted. But I wanted to say this, and I give credit to our political party because they decided to take the walk, to take the risk. You see, the one side of it is that you may lose some good friends. The good side of it is that you will create excitement in the grassroots, which will help make that party very popular and very strong. So you may lose others, but you will pick others. And the only prayer I would make is that let us make the system very good, very efficient. so that even those who may not secure positions they target during these elections will stay on and feel confident enough that the systems are so good that if they won the nomination now for party tickets, they will be able to get the tickets without a problem. So we have to create a good system so that we retain that people are transparent, good political party. Yes.
How would you respond, Senator Mungatana, to those accusing the party of being insensitive? Amid the raging debate around the finance bill and the high cost of living, the party continues to conduct business as usual in the middle of these things.
No, I don't think that's a fair accusation. I think what we are having right now is the finance bill. And the finance bill are just, you know, there's finance, and then there is appropriations bill. Finance is how do we get the money. So all those will be proposals on the excise duty, proposal on income tax changes, proposals on VAT changes, all to proposal on Tax Procedures Act changes, which will mean there will be losers and there will be winners. Within those proposals, depending on the business sector you're doing, you will be impacted. You as an individual will be impacted. So all these are there are proposals which are on the table. And once all these proposals are taken, people will be impacted differently. And this is a normal thing that every government must go through. And so it's not, I don't think the two are correlated, that you say we are doing business as usual, and yet we have the issues. No, the issues of government are time-bound, you know, and for the issues of the party had to do these elections early so that we can manage the fallout in good time. And you see, when our UDA party announced, the ODM also copied us. You know what I mean? Because they also saw the need for them to follow the leaders. And why? Because after all this, in fact, even when we announced and we said we are going to stagger, ODM also announced that they are going to stagger. So the two are really not related, because it was in the planning of the party that we would actually have to deal with these elections in good time so that we manage the fallout. But the government procedures, the processes, are such that you have to make proposals like the tax proposals which were done, I think it was on the 4th of May, if I'm not wrong, when the bill was tabled before the House. And then the tax proposals, with all the changes and whatever the discussions that are going to take place, they have to take effect on 1st July. So they are time bound. And then after 1st July, the new tax measures take effect. Those who gain, those who lost, whatever the case, the new tax measures must take place in 1st July. So the two are sort of like different. This is government, this is political party.
All right.
Yes.
Before I let you go, Senator, there's one thing really generating heat, and it emanates from the coast region, and that's the ban of Mogoka.
Yes.
Because I think Embu County is up in arms saying it amounts to economic sabotage.
Yes.
Well, we've not seen much coming from Tana River in terms of what their policy decision really is, but Mombasa, Kilifi have already taken a position. I think Kwale has said it won't ban, but it will regulate the sale of the same. Where is this coming from, bearing in mind that Mogoka is a crop under the Ministry of Agriculture?
So there are two arguments that I think are very wrong. And I will say this with a lot of respect to my colleagues who are pushing these arguments. Number one, the argument that this is a cash group and this is our economic lifelines and whatever. So what are you saying? You're saying it's okay for my kids to die, to suffer, to become zombies, but you gain. I think that's a very weak argument. My pastor last Sunday said, and he was talking about corruption, Pastor Jesse Mwai, he said, those men and women, because he gave an example of himself, he said, my wife and I have sworn we will never put on the table to feed our children money that we never worked for, money that we corruptly accepted. And he said, if you're a civil servant, if you're a businessman, if you're a government person, and you're feeding your children with money that you stole, and you know you corruptly obtained that money, then you are feeding curses to your children, your family, and your generation that follows. I would say the same thing. If you are a drug baron and you're feeding your children nice holiday, good schools, good food, good businesses, with money that was obtained from killing other people, from making other people very useless, then you are swallowing curses, not only yourself, but your children. And the other argument I would want to say that is wrong, you cannot say this is the law and therefore we must follow it. The law is not made for, the man is not made for the law. It's the law that is made for the man. And when Jesus said, he was asked by those guys, the Pharisees, that why are you healing this person on a Sabbath day? He answered, he said, will you wait until the day the Sabbath has ended if your son or your ox has fallen into a deep? So let us say the law was made for man, not the man for the law. So if there is a problem with the law, and you see what the governors have responded to is a situation on the ground. What you need to do is to hear what can we do on this issue together. What can we do to solve the problem? But you cannot stand somewhere and say that's the law and we forget about it. Otherwise, we will not have a new constitution. We will not have independence, because even the laws, you have no, from where I sit, there is no compelling moral ground to obey laws that are against justice. You know, that's why we fought for independence, because the law at that time was saying Europeans are superior to us, and they were wrong laws. So let us say that if there are issues, let them be discussed and resolved. But you
100% support the ban.
I support the ban because of what is happening on the ground, and from where I sit. People saying this is an economic sabotage, I would tell them there was a time we were growing tobacco in these highly productive areas everywhere until somebody discovered it is bad. And then what did they do? They changed to avocados, they changed to macadamia nuts, you know, and the economy still continued. You see, you can start the economy again. There was a time we used to use asbestos for roofing. Then we discovered it has cancer. I mean, we still changed. So economy can change, but you cannot replace the lives of people. So from where I sit, I think a lot of discussions need to go. And I thank His Excellency the President, because he has had a meeting with these people. The only place I faulted him was that he had a meeting with these people on the one side and then didn't have a meeting immediately on the other side. I think this whole idea of having one meeting one side and then saying the other people will meet with the minister, well, the other people don't want to meet the minister. They want to meet him as a person. And it should have been better to hear these ones today and tomorrow to hear these others and to make a decision when they are jointly together. It would have been better. But saying, I'm meeting these ones, then next week the minister will meet this one. That one, I'm not with him there. But I wish he would have this meeting very quickly, hear what these other people have to say, and then make a decision that will create harmony. Because at the end of it, it's really not about the law. It's about creating harmony on all these counties so that we can all have a piece of this country and live together as a nation. But when people start feeling, mnatuonea, you know what you are doing? It's not even good for our party. You are giving an automatic second term to ODM in some of those counties. So let's also be sensitive to even to the politics of the day. So from where I sit, I pray that some sensitivity will be handled around this area and people will come to an agreement and people will not feel that they are being sat on because it's a bad feeling.
Thank you very much, Senator Mongatana.
It's so short.
I agree completely. But thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you, sir.
We thank you very much for your time. Unfortunately, we have to put a cap on Prime Edition tonight. Thank you very much. And thank you, Senator Mongatana, for your incisive debate, really.
Thank you,
and God bless you. Have yourself a fantastic night. We'll see you around.
Thank you, sir.
nimesema atakayekuwa kiongozi ni yule pete itamchagua.
Bahari imechafuka. Mrithi wangu ni yule atakayeniletea vuo la kuoga.
Sasa na hili vuo wachana nalo, wakati wake umepita.
Pete hii ni ishara ya utawala. Huu uongozi tusimwachie Jasiri.
Kwa nini uongozi usimwendee Jasiri? Na wauliza nyinyi, Jasiri ana nini?
Kiva, hakuna atakayekusumbua.
Kurumisha ndege. Aviator instant game. Be a daring pilot and earn by how much high you can lift the plane. The higher you fly, the higher your win. The sky is the limit. Mozartbet.
This week on What's in Your Kitchen, Chef Kennedy.
Yes.
This food is so good.
My pleasure.
How would you describe your menu today?
Okay, basically, Nelly, this is what my Mediterranean encompasses: chicken, bouillon, the free-range kienyeji chicken, the crushed arrowroot that we have here. All these are just natural ingredients that you can find occurring in a local way. So we're just going to give them an international twist from what we are used as a local perspective point of view.
Yeah.
Cheza loto.
Yes, the 26th of May is here, siku rasmi ya kupeana shamba hili. Umecheza kupitia star 570 hash, ikiwa ni shamba ya 1.1 million Kenyan shillings. Lori za mawe zina kungoja, lori za mchanga zina kungoja. Kuna uwezekano wewe ni mshindi. Tuende show! Unangoja nini? Star 570 hash. Niko na watatu ambao pia wamekuja kumenyana na the 12 beautiful boxes. Ikiwa majina ni nani?
Patrick Mashara Ngugi kutoka Kabete.
Maeneo gani?
Ya Kabete Mogoga.
Kabete, very good. Dada yetu, you're looking lovely. Majina nani?
Naitwa Judy Magero.
Judy, kutoka maeneo gani?
Kajiado West.
Kajiado. Shughuli unafanya gani?
Teacher.
Teacher.
Kiswahili.
Oh, Kiswahili. Bro?
Yes.
Wewe ni mwalimu wa nini?
Mimi si mwalimu.
Shughuli gani?
Kwa majina naitwa Peter.
Peter?
Alafu mimi ni mfanyabiashara. Na usanga nguo.
Umekuja nini?
Nimekuja pesa ama chochote kile Mungu atakachonipa.
Sawa.
Yes.
Hapa kuna sanduku 12 na zote ni zenu. Hapa ndani nimeweka 50,000 Kenya shillings, nimeweka 100,000 Kenya shillings na nimeweka 250,000 Kenya shillings. Unataka gani? Awamu ni yako. Lakini kabla ya haya yote, msema kweli, revelation tukiendaenda. Nani wa kwanza natamani kufika hapa? Patrick? Judith? Ama Peter? Patrick. Naona ushakanyaga kuja hapa. Patrick. Nusu ya shilingi 1,100 ni shilingi 50,000, ndio hiyo? Shika. Na shilingi 1,100 ziko pia hapa. Patrick, hapa kuna shilingi 1,000 ngapi? 250. That is a 250,000. Patrick, kuna sanduku ambao ukigusa nitajaribu nikutoe. Na kunazo ambazo ukigusa hata sitapingana na wewe. In 3, 2, 1, awamu yako. Unachukua sanduku gani? Mulika sanduku namba 6.
Namba 6.
Nilisahau kukuambia kuna brush ya choo. Unataka kuenda na brush ya kusugua choo?
Hapana.
Unataka kuenda na namba 6? Si basi ugeuze. Si ugeuze hiyo. Jaribu ugeuze. Nikikupea shilingi 1,000 nikuambie uachane na hii sanduku. Haina kitu yenye unataka. Utachukua ama utakwama?
Utakwama hapa.
3,000 Kenya shillings. Patrick, toka kwa hiyo sanduku. And I dare you. Toka kwa hiyo sanduku.
Nakwama hapa.
Je, nikikupatia shilingi 4,000?
Number 6.
Patrick. Jaribu 2 steps. Mulika sanduku namba 4. Mulika sanduku namba 8. Patrick, jaribu.
Acha nijaribu.
Sipingani na wewe. Ni mimi mwenyewe nimekutoa ama ni wewe mwenyewe?
Mimi nimejitoa, nimeona. Nijaribu hii namba 8.
Mbona sio 4? Mbona sio 4? Mbona 8?
Nimesema niruke 7 nikuje 8.
Mbona usiruke hii ukuje hapa?
Nimesema niende pande hii.
Mulika sanduku namba 4. Unakwama ama niongeze 2,000 shillings ugeuze?
Nakwama hapa.
That is 6,000 shillings. Patrick, unaenda na sanduku namba 8, unarudi kwa 6, unageuza ama unachukua 6,000 shillings kwa mara ya 3?
Namba 8 ndio nataka. Namba 8 ndio nataka.
Uko sure? Uko sure?
Hata nikuwa niko namba 8.
Patrick, kwa mara ya pili nauliza, are you taking my 6,000 Kenya shillings? Unachukua sanduku namba 8 ama unageuza?
Nachukua namba 8.
Nikikuuliza kwa mara ya mwisho Patrick, unakwama ama unageuza? Hii ni ya mwisho. Unachukua gani?
Acha niwe namba 4.
Kwa mara ya 3 nauliza, unachukua sanduku namba 4, unachukua 6,000 ama unageuza?
Nachukua namba 4 sasa, mwisho kabisa.
Sure? Mara ya mwisho nauliza, huyu, hawa ama unageuza?
Niko hapa.
Patrick, uko sure? Fungua sanduku namba 4. Rudi back kwenye stand. Amejichagulia. Haya, kuja uchukue sasa zenye amewacha. Nani anataka? Ladies second. Judith, kuja hapa. Mwalimu. In 3, 2, 1. Onesha watu vile uliziwacha. Mwalimu wa Kiswahili, unafanya nini kwa hesabu? Hesabu gani imekuweka hapa?
Kwenye Kiswahili tuna tarakimu. Na tarakimu ni hesabu.
Judith. 6,000 Kenya shillings. Unakubali unakataa?
Nakataa.
Neno lingine la kukataa ni?
La.
Shilingi 8,000? La asha au nam?
La.
La nini?
Hasha.
Asha.
Nam.
9?
La.
La nini?
Hasha.
10?
La hasha.
La haula. 11?
La hasha.
La hasha. Unafanya nini kwa 11 kama ni la hasha?
Sijui kwa nini.
Hujui kwa nini?
Lakini niko hapa.
Judith. Mwenzako angekuja hapa achukue hii sanduku, ungechukua sanduku gani?
Namba 9.
9. Toka, rudi kwa imani yako. This is 11,000 shillings. Kama kuna 11 unaitaka, iko kwa mikono yangu. Lakini toka kwa hiyo. Mwalimu, toka kwa hiyo.
Niko hapa.
Kuja hapa. Nywele zetu ziko kwa 9. Unajua nini? Siongezi shilingi hata moja. Mwalimu, na only thing nataka nikupatia kama mwalimu wa Kiswahili na kupatia hesabu. Kwa mara ya 3, mwalimu, nakuuliza, unachukua hii 11,000 shillings, unachukua sanduku namba 11 ama unachukua imani yako? Mwalimu, mtu mwache 4. Kumbe ulikuwa unataka tu niongeze jameni. La hasa, inatoka wapi? Wachana nayo. Mwalimu, sasa nataka kuuliza kama sisi watu wa nyoyo. Nyoyo gang sasa sisi ni wana nyoyo. Kwa mara ya 3, unachukua sanduku namba 9, unachukua 11 ambayo siku anatamani uchukue, ama unachukua hizi 11 ambazo ni jaribu sana kwa kuingiza box?
Nachukua 9.
Fuata moyo. Si ndio? Unachukua sanduku namba 9, unachukua 11,000 shillings, ama unarudi kwa 11 ama unageuza kwa mara ya pili.
Mwisho kabisa. Piga filimbi.
Judith, sikuiti mwalimu tena.
Hesabu imechanganya hapa
sasa. Mara ya pili. Wachana na hesabu. Wewe ni mwalimu wa Kiswahili. Wachana na hesabu. Judith, tuachana na Kiswahili. Unachukua hii ama unageuza?
Nachukua.
Are you sure?
Naam.
Kwa mara ya pili nauliza, this ama unageuza? Judith. Judy. Madam Judy.
Naam.
Unachukua hii sanduku namba 9, unachukua hii 11,000 ama unageuza? Hakuna hesabu tafadhali mwalimu. Mara ya mwisho. Gani?
Nachukua hii.
Judy.
Naam.
Nipe thamani. Fungua sanduku, utakata bahasha. Funga sanduku, rudi kwenye jukwaa.